Hello legal warriors. In this video, I'm going to cover tricks of the trade of what us lawyers bring to court so we can actually be effective in a court case. And this might be able to be applied to you too if you happen to be doing something on your own. If you're interested in this area of the law, stay tuned. This is the video for you. My name is Attorney Lance Fryrear. I'm a defense attorney in Lynnwood, Washington. My law firm's been defending people charged with crimes all throughout Washington State for more than 25 years, and I'm putting out these videos to help educate the public. So if you find this useful, please like and please subscribe. More people get to see it. More people get the help they need. Now, as always, I'm just going to jump right into it. So us lawyers, we have to go to a lot of court dates, and nowadays there's Zoom court, and that one's a little bit harder to pull off some of these tricks of the trade, but I'm talking in-person court. I think there's three different ways that we can influence outcomes when we're in court. And I'm going to start with the most obvious one about how we come prepared for court, what we bring. So when I go to court gate, number one, I want to bring whatever law it is that I might need with me if I think the law is going to be an issue. Now, in a criminal case, I'm probably going to bring the court rules because at a bail hearing or a pretrial hearing, sometimes rules apply. And while I know them in my head, the main reason I want that rule book with me is because oftentimes, believe it or not, the judge may not know them all the time, especially if it's a substitute judge or something. And from me just talking about something, hey, well, I think the speedy trial rule says this, judge. Oftentimes the judge doesn't have a rule book laying around, and if I can sort of hold up that rule book and show that I have the rule book, that will all of a sudden impart authority to the argument, at least if it's coming from a lawyer. I can also say that in a protection order case, I bring the entire statute with me to each hearing, all of RCW 7.105. And instead of saying bring the law, secretly here in the office we call it the hot sauce. I'll say make sure I've got the hot sauce with me. And to us, that's this folder of the entire law. I can remember a case where we had a substitute judge who was going to make some very, very bad decisions against my client. And the judge was totally and utterly wrong, in my opinion. And because I had the hot sauce with me and I was holding it up, the judge, I think, partly because I had it with me, was convinced to see it how I wanted them to see it, and the outcome was much, much better for my client. And if I didn't have that law with me, if it didn't have the physical representation of the law, I think it would have been different. And believe it or not, the court often doesn't want to see it, right? They didn't say, hand it up here and let me look at it. But when we have that look of being prepared, and when we actually have what we need to be prepared in case we don't know it by memory, I mean, a lot of it I know from doing this for 30 years, we're going to have a better chance to have the right outcome in court. So bring the proper legal materials with you, and that means the file too, right? And we always have to remember to bring the client file. So many times people are doing everything digitally nowadays. They don't have a file with them. And personally, I don't like it on digital to the same degree. What happens when the internet connection doesn't work? What happens when you run out of power? What happens when you can't easily find everything like you can with paper? Now, I use plenty of digital too, but I think it's good to have a client file with you as well. So if you're going to court, make sure you bring the paperwork that you need with you. What's the second way that sort of the trick of the trade? Why when we bring something to court? And this one is also very important, especially in a criminal case. If you're getting to a really litigious, a highly litigated part of the case, you want to have a sufficient amount of materials with you so the prosecutor can understand that they're going to have some work to do if you don't get what you want. I can remember very early on in my career, 20 plus years ago, I made sure to bring 3 folders worth of stuff to court. And the first folder at least had all these police reports that we'd got from an officer who did all these DUI stops the same way. It always almost said the exact same thing. And me walking in and telling this prosecutor face-to-face about that problem that I thought they had in their case was far less effective than me walking in and going, slam, with all these right in the desk in front of them. And now it was very real. That's a visceral reaction for a prosecutor. It's totally honest. Those were the stacks of the reports, but me I didn't need them with me that day. I wasn't going to show them, but I was showing that I had them. And again, we are talking about drama in court, right? We're affecting human behavior. And so if you use it in a smart way, that made that issue more real, and it made it more likely that that was an issue the prosecutor would need to worry about and be more likely to find a way to get a resolution that my client likes. That way the prosecutor is eliminating that workload from them. Do you think they want to go through all those reports? Probably not. Additionally, you want to bring materials to court. If you're trying to prove something up, you want to make it easy for either the prosecutor or the court judge or the court clerk to interpret your document how you want it interpreted. Let's say you've got community service proof. You need to do community service, or you need to do something where it may not be exactly clear what it is. If you walk in with your just piece of paper that has some numbers on it that says community service, but it's sort of sloppy and you're trying to add up hours, you're just inviting the reader who's trying to judge whether or not this is correct or not to make their own judgment, right? They're going to look harder at, hey, what type of agency is this? They're going to look harder at things that they can only generally come out against you if they don't like it. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you tell them what it is by having a beautiful cover sheet, right? Properly labeled with a case number. If it's 16 hours of community service, right on the cover sheet. Proof of 16 hours community service. Even better, if you only needed 16, maybe you have 17. Proof of 17 hours community service, parentheses, only 16 required. Now they can just take a glance and go, yeah, that looks like what that says it is, so I don't need to eyeball it. And they simply don't have the time to do it. So in each case, you might have a valid community service, but in one case, if it's sloppy, they might think it's not valid even though they're wrong, and now you've got problems. You got to put cover sheets on things that tell the reader what it is, so they have to not use energy to make their own determination from scratch what it is, because again, this is when we're proving something up. It could be alcohol treatment, could be alcohol evaluation, could be anger management, could be DVMRT, but whatever it is, these people that are in court, they have very limited executive function thinking power left. We need to make it easy for them to see it how we need them to see it, right? Because literally that can be the difference between a good day or a bad day. And guess what? I like good days. So that's the second thing that I talk about, trick of the trade. The third thing is simply paying attention when you're in court. Pay attention how you show up. Pay attention how you're dressed. And pay attention who you're talking to. If you're an attorney, and there's probably some attorneys that watch this, of course, my rule of thumb is I don't ever want to be sitting right next to the client. I don't ever want to be, unless the client really needs it, I want to be listening to what's going on in court. And that goes for you too if you're a defendant. Listen to the negotiations going on. What is the prosecutor offering another case that's like yours? What is the defense attorney saying about their case to the prosecutor? Or if probation's there, right? What is probation saying? What is the judge saying? Because you can pick up tips about how that particular prosecutor, how that particular probation officer, how a particular defense attorney, how they work and what's important to them, right? And what's available. I mean, you could walk into a case, you've never been there before in this court, and you're thinking you might have to plead guilty, but now you start hearing the prosecutor offering an SOC to someone. What's an SOC? Well, maybe you look it up on this station, but that's maybe a different outcome. That's a stipulated order of continuance. And if you show up proper, paying attention, well-dressed, respectful, and you use that sort of bright-eyed mind, hopefully, that you have to absorb what's going on, you're going to learn information that's going to, number one, help your case, hopefully, number two, reduce your anxiety, three, hopefully get you a better outcome. And so, when we trained attorneys at my office, we take a look, how are they appearing? Are they on time? They need to be early. Are they, using their charisma, their knowledge, their power to learn as much as they can about what's going on in that courtroom so they can help the client, so they can help themselves, so they can help anybody that we ever deal with in that court in the future. Or we could just sit back by next to our client and look at CNN and see what it says. Which one is going to be more effective? It's not CNN. Sorry, CNN. So those are my tips and tricks for about how it is you can show up in court and be the most effective just by what you bring, how you present it, and what you do and what you listen to. And let's be active in making these decisions so we can help ourselves the most. You find it useful? Please like, please subscribe. More people get to see it. More people get the help they need. More importantly, get a criminal problem in Washington State. Feel free to reach out to my firm. If we get on board, we'll listen to what happened, we'll identify a way forward, and we will be there for you. Thank you.